In the opening of the piece, the author reflects on the familiar ritual of setting New Year's resolutions and bluntly acknowledges that most of us will abandon them. Citing failure rates of 80 to 90%, he argues that people generally don't truly want to change. Instead, resolutions are often superficial commitments made because society expects them. We are more concerned with impressing others than aligning our actions with genuine internal desires. This mismatch leads to creating goals based on status games rather than personal conviction. The writer admits to having quit many more goals than he has achieved, yet sees value in examining the lives we dislike as a way to propel ourselves towards something better. He points out the crushing cycle of making promises to ourselves only to break them, leaving us feeling helpless and trapped in a pattern of wanting change but never achieving it. The gym crowds that surge in January and dwindle by February are a cliché for a reason. Human nature makes it easy to revert to familiar habits, but the author insists that reflecting on our shortcomings can still be a catalyst for meaningful improvement. The essay promises to share 7 unconventional ideas on behavior change, psychology, and productivity that could help readers, whether their ambitions involve starting a business, transforming their bodies, or pursuing a more meaningful life. Avoid quitting after a couple of weeks. He warns that this will be a comprehensive, thought-provoking exploration, not a throwaway article to scan and forget, and encourages readers to give it their full attention or skip sections until they have the space to fully engage. The author begins the main body by asserting that simply trying to be more disciplined or productive cannot succeed if your underlying identity remains unchanged. True change is a 2-part process. Adopting different behaviors is secondary to becoming the type of person who naturally exhibits those behaviors. To illustrate, he asks readers to consider someone with an impressive physique, a successful CEO, or a charismatic speaker. To outsiders, these individuals might seem to grind every day, but the author contends that their routines are effortless because they cannot envision themselves living any other way. They would have to force themselves to be unhealthy, lazy, or unproductive. This highlights the necessity of reorienting your identity so that new habits feel natural rather than imposed. He delves deeper into the psychology of why we stay stuck, explaining that all human behavior is goal-oriented. While some goals are obvious, walking to reach a destination, many are unconscious. For instance, chronic procrastination may be less about a lack of discipline and more about avoiding the potential judgment that comes with finishing and sharing your work. Similarly, people who remain in unfulfilling jobs often frame it as a lack of courage, when in reality they are pursuing the goal of safety, predictability, and social acceptance. According to the author, genuine transformation demands changing these underlying goals. Goals are not merely things you write down and motivate yourself to achieve. They are lenses through which you interpret reality. They determine what you notice, what you ignore, and ultimately what you become. This insight leads into a discussion about how identities are formed. The author outlines a cycle. You set a goal, perceive the world through that goal, learn by noticing information that helps you achieve it, repeat the associated behaviors until they become automatic and unconscious. Then internalize those behaviors as part of your identity. Once a behavior becomes part of your identity, you will defend it to maintain psychological consistency, even if it no longer serves you. This process starts in childhood. Our earliest goals revolve around survival, so we adopt beliefs and behaviors our caregivers reward and avoid those they punish. If we are not mindful, these inherited scripts persist into adulthood. The author warns that our parents' beliefs are often products of their own upbringing and may not align with our aspirations. As we get older and physical survival is less of a concern, we begin to protect and reproduce our ideas, political, religious, or professional identities, as if they were part of our bodies. Challenges to these identities trigger fight or flight responses, which can trap us in echo chambers and hinder growth. The essay then situates these observations within a broader framework of ego development. Summarizing models like Maslow's hierarchy, spiral dynamics, and the author's own Human 3.0, it describes 9 stages of mind: impulsive, self-protective, conformist, self-aware, conscientious, individualist, strategist, construct-aware, and unitive. Each stage marks a different way of seeing the world, from reacting impulsively to impulses and following group rules without question, to becoming aware of your own inner life, forming your own principles, recognizing the context dependence of those principles, and eventually seeing identity itself as a flexible construct. The author suggests that most readers fall somewhere between the self-aware and construct-aware stages. Progression through these stages follows a pattern regardless of where you start. Recognizing your current stage allows you to understand your blind spots and the conditioning you must overcome. Building on this, the author redefines intelligence. Citing entrepreneur Naval Ravikant's idea that the only real test of intelligence is if you get what you want out of life, he introduces the concept of cybernetics, the art of steering a system toward a goal through a continuous loop of action, sensing, comparison, and adjustment. A ship, a thermostat, and even the human body's insulin response are intelligent systems because they persistently iterate toward their objective. High intelligence, therefore, is the ability to iterate, persist, and understand the bigger picture. Low intelligence manifests as repeating mistakes, quitting when faced with obstacles, or adhering blindly to inherited goals. The author emphasizes that you can achieve nearly any goal on a long enough timeline if you are willing to be flexible, experiment, and learn. This requires rejecting the known path laid out by society, education, employment, retirement, and instead diving into the unknown, setting new goals that expand your mind and studying the underlying principles that govern nature and human systems. As he approaches the practical advice that concludes the essay, the author underscores that goals are more than tasks to check off. They are perspectives that shape your perception of success and failure. To live a fulfilling life, you must choose goals with intentionality, understanding that they will determine what you see and do. The middle section thus lays the psychological and philosophical groundwork for the transformative protocol introduced later, showing why superficial changes fail and what shifts in identity, belief, and intelligence are required to truly reinvent yourself. The concluding section of the essay shifts from theory to practice, offering a structured protocol to transform your life in a single day. The author argues that lasting change requires more than awareness. It demands a deliberate upheaval of your current patterns. The morning begins with a psychological excavation. You set aside time to probe deeply into your discontent. What dull dissatisfaction have you learned to live with? What complaints do you voice but never act on? For each, what would an observer of your behavior conclude you actually want? You then imagine in detail the life you dread if nothing changes over the next 5, 10, or 30 years, and identify who in your life already lives this way. This exercise, called the anti-vision, harnesses negative emotion to drive you away from a future you refuse to accept. Immediately after, you build a contrasting vision of an ideal 3-year future, however unrealistic it may seem at first, and write an identity statement. I am the type of person that would make such a life feel natural. You finish by choosing one action you would take this week if you were already that person, making the vision tangible. The second phase tackles the inertia of everyday life by interrupting your unconscious routines. Throughout the day, you set alarms at random times to ask yourself questions like, what am I avoiding right now? Or, if someone filmed the last 2 hours, what would they conclude I want from my life? These prompts keep you present and reveal where you are acting out of identity protection rather than genuine desire. The exercise also includes deeper questions such as, what would change if I stopped needing people to see me as my current identity? And what's the smallest version of the person I want to become that I could be tomorrow? By forcing you to confront your motivations in the midst of daily tasks, these interruptions help break autopilot behaviors and create space for intentional choices. In the evening, you synthesize what you have uncovered. You identify the real internal enemy, not circumstances or other people, but the pattern or belief that has been running your life, and articulate it clearly. You condense your anti-vision into a single sentence that evokes a visceral reaction whenever you read it, and summarize your vision into another sentence that inspires you. You then set a 1-year lens by defining one concrete thing that must be true in a year to know you've broken the old pattern. From there, you derive a 1-month lens, a project or learning goal that makes the 1-year vision possible, and finally determine 2 or 3 daily actions you will time block tomorrow that align with the person you are becoming. This framework emphasizes progress over perfection, encouraging you to view goals as perspectives that guide your state of mind rather than finish lines to cross. To lock everything in, the author recommends gamifying your life. You organize your anti-vision, 1-year goal, 1-month project, daily levers and non-negotiable values into a coherent plan that functions like a video game. Your vision is how you win. Your anti-vision is what's at stake. Your 1-year goal is the mission. Your 1-month project is the boss fight. Your daily levers are quests, and your constraints are the rules you will not break. By framing self-development as a game with clear objectives, feedback, and challenges, you create a magnetic force that keeps distractions at bay. Over time, this structure becomes second nature. You feel pulled toward your goals, find enjoyment in the process, and wouldn't have it any other way.